And today it's the final regular season home game for Chipper Jones. It's been a weekend of celebration and a time to say goodbye to the greatest Atlanta Brave of all time. And for all of us, one last chance to say thank you.
"19 seasons with the Atlanta Braves, my entire career. And soon I will be Chipper Jones, retired baseball player. I've been privileged to play this game. I've been allowed to see and do things that most people never get the chance to do. I'm proud of what I've accomplished. I have experienced and learned from my failures. I've produced in big games and delivered memorable moments. I have been a champion. And through it all, I've always been an Atlanta Brave."
No doubt about that one. The Braves win the game. Swinging drive, right center field. The Braves have won it. Swing, high fly ball, belted right center, and the Braves have won it.
Yes, the games are coming to an end. But I'm not done yet, nor is the 2012 Braves team. There's still work to be done and maybe one last lightning bolt left for all of us. Thank you for this great life and career that I have had. I am Larry Wayne Chipper Jones.
It's the last rodeo at home in the regular season for Chipper. And he's obviously very tense, fellas.
I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but this is the first time all year long that he's played or started 6 straight games. Only a couple other times that he started as many as 5 in a row. So this has been a real test for him all week to try to fulfill what the fans wanted to see, and that's to come here and see him play in this last homestand. But I have a feeling he's looking forward to some rest in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's probably pretty happy that the Braves are going to a nice quiet town. He can get a little rest.
That's a pretty cool shot, looking down from one of our high camera positions to see someone that's the only person on the field running on the field. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if his mom's going to make it through today or not.
There are a lot of people in Braves country that feel just as Lynn Jones does today. But there is a game to be played, and let's see if the Braves can send Chipper out at home with a victory over the New York Mets. The Braves won last night. Thrilling ball game. The final 2-0 in game 2 of the series. Here's how Terry Collins lines up his Mets squad, a club that's playing good baseball. They've won 7 of their last 9 games, and we'll look at Henry Mejia, a veteran of Tommy John surgery. He's the pitcher against Chris Medlin for the Atlanta Braves today.
Yeah, Chris Medlin, and we'll start off with those numbers. 11 starts this season, 8-0 with a 1.04, and there's a whole lot of more numbers that we can spit out during the course of this broadcast. It's going to tell you what an amazing year this kid's had, and be good to see him go out there today and have a nice tune-up and be in good shape for next Friday.
Well, that's a good description for his 4 keys to pitching success too, Tom. You want him to enjoy it, but one of the things about today with this big crowd, is the atmosphere. This is all weekend long has been kind of a postseason type atmosphere with the crowd really into it. I think that'll do him a lot of good leading into his start, which is expected to be against St. Louis or Los Angeles next Friday. And no let up. You know, don't coast in. However long he pitches today, pitch it like it is a postseason game just to get ready.
So Chris chasing a win today and also chasing history. He and Whitey Ford and Carl Hubble all tied for the longest team win streak in pitchers starts since 1921. Remarkable work by Chris Medlen.
And yes, I know we're still mathematically alive for the division. I'm just saying in Chris's mind, he's got to be thinking about next Friday.
And as he's done since joining the Braves rotation, strike after strike after strike. And he's ahead of Ruben Tejada, the Mets shortstop today. Chipper dives, and from his knees, Freeman with the scoop. That's how game one of the series started, with a tricky play at third for Chipper.
I think he liked this one a lot better because it was hit harder. And a nice bit of help over here from Freddie on a really tough hop to handle.
You know, in every other sport, you talk about going out there that first shift in hockey or that first play in football and hitting somebody and getting your head in the game. Perfect way for Chipper to kind of get all the cobwebs out and get focused on baseball.
Daniel Murphy's the Mets second baseman, and sprays one towards his dugout. Foul, strike one. And Murphy's bat broke in half by that Medlen pitch.
Chris's last start against Miami, he got a no decision, but the team won 4-3. 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, did not walk anyone, struck out 8.
And that's the real remarkable thing about Chris this month, Joe. 4 walks and 42 strikeouts this month. That'll play in postseason play, won't it?
Yes, it will.
A little low to Murphy. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Gonna have a little competition though with his teammate to maybe double up on his pitcher of the month honors, which is a good thing.
Yes.
It's good for the Braves.
You bet. Mike Minor, another gem last night.
And Murphy hooks one down the right field line and into the corner, and he'll have an extra base hit in the top of the first inning. And for Murphy, his 40th double of the year. Guy's a good hitter, and he's having a terrific September.
Good hitter, and he's hit the Braves well all year long. We've seen this before, this one-handed double into the right field corner. Tough out.
So Medlen to the stretch in the first inning with Justin Turner playing third base. David Wright did not have an enjoyable 9th inning last night for New York. Turner a little late, strike one. David Wright was frankly hitting the groin with a pitched ball last night. We thought it may have gotten him on the hip or on the right leg. That's not where it got him, and Wright stayed in the game but can't go today. And on the ricochet, Paul Nauert got hit in the neck with that pitched ball. Pop fly into shallow right. Jason makes the play. And a good play under cloudy skies with the lights on here at 1:42 Eastern time. There's the Atlanta outfield. Good to see Michael Bourn back in the lineup. We'll talk about that in a moment. Standard infield alignment for the Braves, and David Ross gets the start behind the plate.
Yeah, Michael told me yesterday he expected to play today. He was not in the original lineup, but Freddie Gonzalez said he wanted to wait until Michael got to the ballpark to confirm with him that he was okay to go today. So he was a late addition to the Braves lineup today, and he's leading off.
Ike Davis, the batter, with 89 RBIs this year for the Mets. A team high 31 homers.
Dana DeMuth behind the plate today, not necessarily considered a pitcher's umpire. He's got a pretty tight zone, always has had.
So Medlen facing the Mets number 4 hitter, but it's Chris that's been cleaning up against cleanup men this year.
Put those numbers next to anybody. Challenge anybody against cleanup hitters.
If you can take care of those speedy leadoff guys and take care of team's RBI guys, you're going to be putting yourself in a good position, and Chris has obviously done that.
Medlen battles back to a full count now. Here's the rest of the umpiring crew. You see Dana DeMuth behind the plate, Doug Eddings, Kerwin Danley, and Paul Nauert. He loses Davis, and runners first and second with 2 outs.
Davis had some pretty good numbers against him, 4 for 13 with a homer, so there might have been a little bit of that in Chris's head when he went to 3-0 on him. Just trying not to make a mistake. Dangerous hitter.
Here's Scott Hairston. Hairston getting the start in center today. .260 average, 19 homers, and 1 for 7 in the series. That hit a second inning single last night. Just outside. You see Ross holding that ball for a second look.
Sherwin-Williams painting the corners a little wide. Says Fox track.
That's a strike. I don't care what Fox track says.
Well, we'll call it Glavin tracks from now on if you'd like. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just a little recalibration, that's all.
Chipper at third. Flips to second. What a play. He saved a hit and maybe a run too with a terrific diving stop at the hot corner. The Mets are out of luck in the top of the first. Here come the Braves to face Henry Mejia. Two diving stops for Chipper defensively in the top of the first. He's due 4th in the home half of the inning. And here's the rest of the Braves lineup. Great to have Michael Bourn back at the top of the order with Prado, Hayward, then Chipper, Freddie Freeman, and company to try to support Chris Medlen as the Braves try to win their 93rd game of the year today.
They'll be facing the Mets young right-hander Henry Mejia. 22-year-old is 1-5 in his career. And there's not a whole lot to talk about, but let's pay attention to these splits over the course of the game. .222 versus lefties. Righties surprisingly have handled them pretty well, so we'll see how that plays out today.
And Joe will also see how Michael Bourne's thumb holds up against Mejia. Michael's first action since injuring the thumb against Philadelphia on a slide.
It's like he's got some padding tape to the bat too, right where his thumb wraps around the handle. Mejia's keys today more like a scouting report. Fastball 95 to 97, a little wild. He'll go deep in some counts. He's got a cutter and a split and something in common with Chris Medlen. He's just coming back from Tommy John surgery too. His surgery was May 16th of last year, so he got a late start this year. Pitched a couple of games in AA, 10 starts in AAA before his work here.
And he did pick up his first win in his last start.
4 walks to start the Braves first. But Mejia did get an early start as far as his major league career was concerned. He started a game in 2010 for the Mets at the ripe old age of 20. And he was the youngest Met to start a game since Dwight Gooden did so in 1985. So they think very highly of this kid. We'll see what he does against the Braves today.
I would bet the Braves wouldn't mind at all if Michael Bourn got 3 more of those walks today. Don't have to worry about that thumb. He could get in there, track some balls, get some play in the outfield, and get comfortable again.
It's a good point. And it's his left hand. It's his glove hand. He's a right-handed thrower, so it won't affect and shouldn't affect his ability to throw the baseball if he's got to try to get a runner.
There's a strike to Prado. 1 ball, 1 strike.
In that start, Tom, where he beat the Pirates, Mejia in 5 innings through 96 pitches.
Well, if he
took him a while to get there.
If he pitched for another team, he wouldn't have been out there long enough to get the win. All right, I'll let it go.
Come on, man. Martin Prado, 42 doubles. Another hitter's count from Mejia. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, you can see right away the kid's got good stuff, but somewhere along the line I would imagine they're going to try and rein in these mechanics, because there's a whole lot of movement going on, which is going to make it hard for him to be consistently in the strike zone.
They're trying to decide if they want to make him a starter or a reliever. He wants to start.
Made 10 starts at AAA this year, 2-3, a good ERA, under 3 runs a game. Had 16 relief appearances, but an ERA approaching 5.5 at AAA. Double play ball. And Tejada completes it, 2 outs. Base is clear for Jason Hayward, and 2 outs. Jason drove home the Braves' first run in the first inning last night. Hayward with 80 RBIs on the season. Another chance at second, and a big hop to Murphy will retire the Braves in the opening inning. No score after 1 in Atlanta. Scoreless game. We head to inning number 2 this afternoon. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you by your Atlanta Hyundai dealers. Make every Sunday a Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South. Another great sign for Chipper Jones. And there are plenty of them here at Turner Field for his final home game of the regular season.
There's one from Texas. I saw one from California. You'll be pleased to know that there's a cat named for him. Cleveland, Ohio.
So Braves country pretty much nationwide on this final Sunday for the regular season. Lucas Duda leads off for New York. teach him that changeup?
I don't think so. I mean, I know I've had conversations with him about it, but he already had a pretty good one.
What have you been most impressed with?
You know, all the comparisons you want to make to Maddox, that was the one thing I was always impressed with him, was his consistency, and that's been the case with Chris. You know, it's streak, you know, this streak and everything that he's on, you put all that aside and all the numbers that we've talked about. I mean, it's really hard to go out there and just not have a bad game. I mean, it's going to happen from time to time. He hasn't done it.
And with this tight strike zone, that was called inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's been strike 3 a lot in his starts. And try it again.
And it's smoked out towards second. Uggla knocks it down and makes the play. 1 out.
See Simmons, he is amazing. I mean, he made the great catch out in center field last night when Constanza misjudged the ball. This ball is smoked, a 1-hopper to Uggla, and he is standing. Look how far away he is from Dan. Now Simmons is going to run over there. He's only going to be about 10 or 15 feet away from him when the ball drops. Even a routine ground ball to Dan. Andrelton's over there running around, getting behind him, backing him up.
Never know, that might save you a big out in a critical situation with just an instinctive play.
He's not a spectator. He is a player, and boy, is he into everything.
A strike to Mike Baxter, getting the start in right field for New York today. Baxter 1 for 3 in the series. Freddie Freeman, Medlin, speaking of not spectating, 2 out. The Braves, as you know, will be hosting the National League Wild Card game in all likelihood Friday, October 5th here at Turner Field. You can order Braves postseason ticket strips and individual game tickets right now at braves.com/postseason. The Braves still have a mathematical shot at catching Washington. But with 4 games left, Washington's lead is 4. So that means a Braves loss or a Nationals win clinches the East for Davey Johnson's club. And they're in St. Louis later on today. A strike to catcher Kelly Shoppach.
Tom, I certainly don't have to tell you, but I mean, postseason, a guy who relies on hitting those corners, having a pitch back up for him once in a while for a strikeout, sometimes that's all dependent on the umpire and what he's willing to give or not give that day.
Well, that's why you hear a lot of people say you need power arms in the postseason. You know, you don't. The strike zones are, you know, I'm not griping. I'm not. It's a fact. The strike zones are smaller in the postseason, and you know that's why those power guys tend to be more successful, because they can take a chance at throwing the ball over the heart of plate at 97 miles an hour and see if they can get away with it.
Fly ball to right. Jason Hayward drifts back, and it's a 1-2-3 second. Chipper Jones leads off the Braves' second inning, and Atlanta looking for the game's first run. Second inning, Chipper Jones will lead off for the Braves. Freddie Freeman and Dan Uggla will follow against right-hander Henry Mejia. And already the crowd buzzing, awaiting the announcement of Chipper Jones' turn at bat for the first time today.
I think I might go ahead and write in Chipper Jones as my answer to today's trivia question. Get ahead of the game.
Oh, that's a beauty there.
To the bottom of the second, third baseman, number 10, Chipper Jones.
One ball, no strikes. As Joe mentioned, 6 games in a row for Chipper Jones. The first time that's happened all season for the Braves third baseman. And looking for his first hit against the Mets in the series. Hasn't thrown one close.
Poor guy. He's going to get vilified if he doesn't throw him a strike.
Four wide ones. Second leadoff walk issued to the Braves offense. And Chipper's aboard to start the second inning.
I like where the Braves are right now, Tom. I like the way they're playing. They're playing good defense. They're getting excellent pitching, as we've been talking about. But with Uggla coming around, Freddie Freeman really beginning to heat up a little bit, you like where the team is heading into the last week.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further than that. You know, with Mike Minor's emergence, I like their top 3 guys matching up against anybody in the National League, anybody in baseball, and I'll take their bullpen over anybody in baseballs right now too. So you have to feel good about where they're at. You know, I think the big thing right now is over these next 4 games, see if you can get Michael Bourn on track.
Agreed.
Get his bat going so that you now have that added element of speed in your lineup as well, because those kinds of guys are extremely important in the postseason.
Way outside to Freddie Freeman. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, the Braves still don't know whom they're going to play. Again, assuming they're the wild card leading team in the National League, they still don't know who they'd play in that Friday matchup, because the Dodgers are gaining ground on the Cardinals all of a sudden in the wild card race. And that sets up a whole nother set of crazy scheduling scenarios. If the Cardinals and Dodgers finish tied, there'd be a 1-game playoff in Los Angeles, and the winner of that game would come play Atlanta here at Turner Field.
And when would that game be? Thursday?
It would have to be.
Yeah.
Now whether, as Freeman launches one into the left center field gap, that's going to get down. Hairston cuts it off. Freddie on his way to second to throw off target, and the Braves are in business. Second and third, nobody out.
Good piece of hitting here after falling behind 0-2. Pitched down a little bit away from him and laced it to the gap. 33rd double for him.
So Dan Uggla, our Georgia Lottery, hitting the jackpot. He's worn out the Mets in his last 5 games. And an RBI chance for Uggla, who's having a good month. it stands to reason you're going to have a better batting average if you're making consistent contact, Joe and Tom, and that's what Dan has done in September.
Well, you know, he's got a good eye up there because he's walked so many times. So he's one of those guys that, yeah, he shows some patience at times as evidenced by his walks, but like we've talked about, there are other times where you'd just like to see some of that more consistent contact, maybe some more of that going the other way. And to his credit, he's been working at it, and as Joe mentioned, he's made a little tweak and he's making more contact and at the right time.
He has bookended his season in a pretty good way. Good numbers in April, not many strikeouts. May wasn't all that bad, but a lot of strikeouts, and then it got real ugly in June and July and most of August. But look what he's done in September. Fewest month of strikeouts, fewest strikeouts per month of any of them. And I still contend it's because his bat's in the zone a lot longer right now than it was in those middle months where it was on a plane that was going from low to high in a big uppercut.
Same pitch. That's also called a strike, and Uggla didn't like it. 2-2.
Well, that's fine as long as Chris Medlen gets that same pitch, because that's where Chris will be pitching all day, to both sides of the plate. And so far today, Dana DeMuth has not given him that pitch.
That just missed. Full count.
That was the cutter.
Shot toward third, and Turner in perfect position makes the play for the first out.
Get that one right on the button. And because it was a line drive one hopper, I think it froze Chipper, even though the infield was playing back. Not sure that ball might get caught in the air when you first read it off the bat. Don't know how deep Turner might have been playing.
So second and third, one out for David Ross. And a nice stop by Shopik. 1 ball, no strikes. Simmons is our Delta on deck batter.
Getting his bat in there helps a lot too.
High fly ball deep left. Duda going back. That ball is out of here.
Boy, did he drop the barrel on this one. I don't know who David was looking at in the stands back behind the on-deck circle, but he pointed to him again when he crossed home plate. That was pretty exciting.
Bet it was Chipper's parents.
Might have been.
Because when David touched that ball off, you saw at the bottom of the screen, Chipper's right arm went up. He knew it was gone from his perch standing at third base. So a 3-run homer for Ross, and the Braves have jumped out big early.
jumped.
So Simmons strikes out for the second out of the inning, and Chris Medlin will bat. First strikeout for Henry Mejia. What a job by David Ross this year. Now 9 homers. Backing up Brian McCann.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. What a great commodity it is to have a guy like that, not only from the defensive standpoint, but what he gives you offensively as well. And that's danger zone. You do not want to make a mistake in on him.
Sprayed foul to the left side by Chris. 0-2 is your count. As Tom mentioned, those lefty-righty splits for Mejia certainly came into play. It was the right-hand hitting David Ross that provides the first offense of the day today, and it was indeed launched.
Right-handers came in 10 for 25 against him, a .400 average, and now both homers he's allowed have been to right-handers.
Back to the mound, and that will retire the side. Atlanta scores 3 times, a walk, a double, and a towering 3-run homer by David Ross. Chris Medlin is staked to a 3-run lead, with the Mets pitcher Henry Mejia set to lead off the top of the 3rd. David Ross with the big blow of the game, a 3-run shot to give Chris Medlin an early lead as we go back to work in the New York 3rd inning. Chipper Jones scored a 2nd inning run, and that's part of our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Who's the only player with more career runs scored against the Mets than Chipper Jones?
Tough one.
Foul ball by pitcher Henry Mejia, his 2nd at bat of the year. And quickly 0-2. He's shown you plenty of shots of the Jones family down behind the Braves on deck circle. Lynn Jones is breaking a major league record for Kleenex use, right, Tom Hart?
Chip, you're absolutely right. When we talked the other day, as Chipper tries to make another trademark barehand play, and he does that with ease. We're going to talk to Lynn Jones about her emotions, but let's talk about Chipper's glove work for a moment. Do you think, in your mind, that's the most underrated part of his game?
I told you I swallow my tongue when you stick one of these things in front of me.
I
think he's awesome. I just think he's wonderful, and I'm so pleased that the Atlanta fans think he's wonderful too.
What about the reception that you've seen from the fans from the get-go? When did it really hit you?
Last night. It's hit me all along, but last night I couldn't hold it back anymore. It's just been overwhelming. Think of any adjective that you can think of. It's not just in Atlanta, but all over the country. I can't believe people think as much of my son as I do.
The feedback that we're getting, showing you all weekend, dabbing at your eyes, is that somebody needs to give you a big old hug. Has Chipper given you one of those this weekend?
No, I think we'd both dissolve if we did that. We have to wait until it's all over.
The decision that you guys made, not only to be here through this homestand, but also to be here through the rest of the season, as Andrelton Simmons is just a bit late. How do you come to the ballpark every day, given the circumstances, and watch him play and hold it together?
I carry lots of makeup with me, and lots of Kleenex, and I gave up trying. I just, I guess I'm allowed to be mom now.
When we saw you guys in Houston, his first game of the season, it was kind of his coming out party for his final year. All of his accomplishments and his flair for the dramatic, has that surprised you at all?
He's done it since he was 11 years old, and maybe I'm not surprised. I'm the ultimate Little League mom.
Jason Hayward with a nice running catch and 2 down now with Lynn Jones, Chipper's mom, the final regular season home game. You guys will be here throughout the playoffs. I was talking to your husband back in Houston. We were talking about the Chipper nickname. Can you share with everybody what he did to that kid in kindergarten when he stole his pencil?
He bit him. We were so shocked and ashamed and everything, and he said he was absolutely, well, he took my pencil, so I bit him.
Could that possibly have been a window into his competitiveness at such an early age?
Probably, yeah, probably. He was not going to give in to anybody, I think.
Figuratively, as Braves play the Mets, he's always worn the black hat against the Mets. If he's wearing a black hat, it's because he stole it from your own husband.
Yeah,
is that true?
He did. He walked by the hat rack and picked up a nice black hat and put it on and said, fits. Mom, go buy him a new one.
What are you going to do with all your free time now that you don't have to be parked in front of the TV on the ranch every night at 6 o'clock?
I have no idea. We're going to have a hard time filling up that evening all the time. I think we're just going to have to pick out somebody else and follow them around.
It's been overwhelming for you and your family, the reaction he's gotten from Braves fans. What about the reaction he's gotten on the road in places like New York and Philadelphia?
That is what's really amazed me, to have the opposing players and fans, treat him like he's from home, and that has been astounding. That's really amazed all of us, I think.
Is there one particular moment in his career that you are most proud of?
Oh, I think it's the whole thing. Just the fact that he's been able to hold it together all these years and be so consistent and so steady. I can't pick out a single moment. I think it's just the body of work that has amazed me.
Is there one moment this weekend that really stands out to you where you truly got the most emotional?
Before the game, when he narrated that little piece for the fans, that wiped me out, so it did.
What do you think you're going to say to him after his final game, whether that's Game 7 of the World Series or earlier?
Something will come from my heart.
Don't throw it.
Something will come from my heart at that moment. I haven't pre-planned anything.
When he was a kid and he's working every day in the backyard with his husband with a tennis ball and a PVC pipe and working on that swing, did you have any idea that a 19-year Hall of Fame career could sometime follow?
No, and I wish I hadn't screamed at him so often for throwing the ball off the house. I really did. I'd be in the laundry room and telling him if he bounced that ball off the house one more time, I'd kill him. So I wish I hadn't done that now.
Well, now that you guys are at the ranch, does he ever ask or ride your horses without asking?
He wouldn't touch one of my horses, excuse me. No, he's not a rider. He loves to feed him. We feed him jelly beans and carrots and things like that. And he comes to the barn all the time and has his favorites that we've had for his lifetime. So.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure watching you all season, especially this weekend.
You owe me.
We'll get you a nice DVD.
Freddie Freeman with a nice play and a tough feed for Medlin, and that's going to score a run as Tejada comes home to throw to second off Simmons' glove and into left center field, but no further advance by Turner. Throwing error on Freeman, no RBI, and the Mets are on the board. It's a 3-1 game.
It's been a funny inning. Simmons on the ball that he knocked down but couldn't corral and still almost threw out Tejada. Then a wild pitch kind of set him up scoring on this play, and it was a tough play because of how far Freddie ranged to his right.
Yeah, I think the only thing there, maybe Freddie might have had a little bit more time than he thought he did, and rushed his throw a little bit, but still a tough play.
Freddie's 12th error this season. And now with Ike Davis up there, he represents the potential game-tying run for New York. Davis walked in the first inning. That's inside, 2 balls and a strike. Fly ball, pretty well hit, but plenty of room for Jason. He's got it. And the side is retired. The Mets pick up a 3rd inning run and shave the Braves lead. It's now a 3-1 Medlin advantage. Good start for the Braves and a good month for the Braves in September, and that's the subject of today's Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard.
18-8 so far in the month. Only 3 other teams with a better mark for the month of September, but the Braves have today and 3 more in Pittsburgh to add on.
That's that age-old argument. Do you want to be playing your best baseball going into the postseason? Does it matter? Does it not? Do you want the rest in September? I don't know. The Braves are playing pretty darn good right now, and I think they got to feel good about where they are going into the postseason.
Which position to pick? I mean, after all, the slate is wiped clean once postseason play starts.
You know what? And over the course of our years, we had it every which way. We had it to where we had to play to the last out of the last day. We had rest. I don't know that it mattered. I think you want to, obviously, it's like we've talked about it. If you're a team that can have a cushion and you have the luxury of resting guys and doing all that stuff and getting guys healthy, you want to do it, but you have to maintain that playing the game the right way throughout that. And sometimes that's hard to do, but that's what you want to do.
Well, I know that I remember one season, and I can't tell you which season it was, but I remember the team ended the season in New York at Shea Stadium, and it was an effort to
contact by Bourne, but right at Ike Davis for the first out.
And that's not the right term. The last series, it was like, and Bobby never let you guys do anything except the right way, play hard. But it was like you got to that series in New York. Okay, now it's time to have everybody in there. Nobody gets any rest. Let's use these 3 games to get ready to go wherever you were going to open up the postseason. And it was hard. But you guys had clinched early. You'd won by 10 or 11 games or something. And I remember it was hard to get everybody going again. Yeah, because this is not a game, and not that any of them are, but this is definitely not a game where you can just turn the switch on and off. Yes, your emotions ride up and down based on the magnitude of the situations you're in and adrenaline and all that stuff. But in terms of playing the game, you got to be focused on playing the game right all the time. And you're right, Joe. It's hard when you shut it down for a period of time and then say, okay, let's flip that switch and get it back again.
Martin Prado, the hitter, with the bases empty, and hits that one straight back to the screen for strike 2. I would assume playing the game the right way and playing with that intensity to the very end might be a little advantage for you in that 1-game shootout for the wild card.
It might very well be under that scenario, no question. You're used to it. You're living and dying with every night anyway, so what's one more night? Yeah, I think especially from the mental standpoint of it, executing fundamental stuff where you're trying to squeeze out every run you can late in the season and close ball games, I think that really helps.
fly ball to center, but Hairston had Prado shaded toward right, and he's there for the second out.
Fans, time for Georgia Power Energy Tip number 2. That's number 2, Joe. Georgia Power customers can take advantage of Georgia Power's refrigeration recycling program. Free pickup for your second working refrigerator or freezer, plus get $50. That's Georgia Power Energy Tip number 2.
We'll call that the Belliard tip.
Belliard tip.
Strike one to Jason Hayward. Or if Tom reads that tip twice, we could call it the Hayward tip. He's number 2-2.
Double deuce.
Bounced off the plate, off the pitcher's glove, and Hayward's going to reach with 2 outs. E1.
If it was a base hit earlier, it ought to be a base hit now.
And Mejia might have hurt himself contorting his body to recover that baseball. Mets manager Terry Collins is out along with the team trainer.
He did something real funny after he picked it up, like he was going to try to throw it back to first base, and he was really turning his body funny, and that might have been when it happened. Right here.
Mejia says he's good to go, and here's Chipper.
I mean, it was such a tough play. He injured himself. Right? It's a base hit.
Exactly.
All that's missing for Chipper this weekend is a line drive and a gap someplace.
Yeah, base hit anywhere right now would be just fine.
One ball, one strike. Chipper scored the game's first run. He earned a 4-pitch walk to start the second. Line drive up the middle. There's that base hit. Hayward around second, on his way to third. That ball's headed for the mantle.
Fastball up. Right back where it came from. If Mejia squares up on his delivery, he might have a chance to field that.
So Chipper passes Robbie Alomar on the all-time hit list. That's 2,725 of them. Tony Perez is next. And now with 2 outs, Freddie Freeman hits. 1 takes high. 1 ball, no strikes. Yank foul and out of play. 2-2. Little roller out toward the mound. Mejia makes this play and retires Atlanta in the 3rd inning. Chipper Jones gets a hit. The Braves strand a pair, and this game heads to the 4th.
If you're asking me to narrow it down to one, I would probably have to say Terry Pendleton. 3rd baseman, switch hitter. Been here for a lot of my career, whether he was playing or coaching. TP has been a guy that I can relate to on and off the field. It's helped me out certainly with the everyday struggles of being playing at the hot corner and being a switch hitter. So many guys along the way, whether you go, Willie Stargell being one of my first hitting instructors, Ron Howard being one of my first hitting instructors, Glenn Hubbard being one of my infield instructors. Those guys were all very instrumental in me getting here, but ultimately I've been with TP the longest.
Always great, Tommy, to see current players give credit to the folks that helped them along the major league path.
Yeah, it's always good. I mean, we've all had guys like that in our careers that have been helpful for us, and it makes a big difference.
So Chris Medlin to work with a 3-1 lead. Scott Hairston is leading off the Mets' 4th inning. Hairston was robbed by Chipper in the top of the 1st inning on a diving play at 3rd base. A misting, gray, hazy day in Atlanta. Very light rain falling as we wrap up the home schedule with New York. Pop fly foul headed over the Braves dugout. No play for Freeman. And the count now a ball and 2 strikes. Washington's underway in St. Louis. That game very early at Busch Stadium. No score in the 2nd inning. Again, Washington's magic number to clinch the East is 1. The Cardinals desperately need a win to hold off the Dodgers. Los Angeles hosts Colorado at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Hairston's down on strikes. Good changeup gets him. 1 up and 1 man down. Our Subway Sub prize on the line is indeed the National League wild card. Milwaukee gave it, Tommy, quite a run, but they're 4 behind St. Louis and 2 behind the Dodgers.
Yeah, they made a game of it, as they say, but yeah, they're in a tough spot now, and I don't think the Braves would mind at all to see that thing go down to the wire, and maybe there'd be a little playoff game.
Yeah, the final 3 games for the Cardinals and Dodgers, it's really even money. You've got the Dodgers playing the Giants. The Cardinals have to play the Reds.
Yeah, you've got 2 division winners that have clinched and are getting ready, and 2 guys that are fighting to get in. So yeah, it should be, fairly level playing field, so to speak.
So Medlin, after striking out Hairston swinging, has a 1-2 count for Lucas Duda. Back-to-back swinging strikeouts for Chris. 2 outs. After the game, the Braves will make their way to Pittsburgh for a date with the Pirates. Monday night, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday afternoon. Tuesday night at 7. We hope you'll head over to Twin Peaks in Buckhead for a Sports South viewing party. That's this Tuesday at 7 at Twin Peaks in Buckhead. Ball 1 to Mike Baxter. Braves have already handily won the season series with New York. The Braves have won 11 of the first 17 games. And the Mets just have had awful trouble with Atlanta. 11 or more losses in the season series by the Mets against the Braves in 4 of the last 5 years. And it's been even uglier for New York in the last 13 games head-to-head.
Yeah, the Braves lost the first 4 to them.
Bounced off the plate. Chipper charges. Has a little trouble. And that cost him. Baxter keeps the inning alive. Infield hit.
Couldn't quite get it out of his glove.
Yeah, right about there, he would have been called for traveling. And when you see that from the bench, that's the sign everybody gives, is the universal sign for traveling, because you know when a guy does that, you got a chance to beat it out.
That's only in the college game. They never call traveling in the NBA.
Good point.
Here's Shopik. He swings the first pitch, drives it to center and deep. Bourne going back at the edge of the track. Makes the play, and that retires the side. Bottom of the 4th inning. A misty day in Atlanta. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. 3-1 score, bottom of the 4th inning. Today, after our Braves coverage, check out an encore presentation of our tribute to Chipper. Take a look back into his storied career on Braves Live, a tribute to Chipper Jones presented by Cadillac after today's home schedule wrap-up from Turner Field. All's right with the Braves world. Medlin's pitching and winning. Chipper has a hit. He scored a run. And the Braves trying to finish off the Mets and win their final home series of the season. 4th inning begins with Dan Uggla. As Mejia pounds in a quick strike.
They have been pounding that area on Dan Uggla.
That one too far inside. And Dan swings and misses. That is the second Mejia strikeout of the game. And here's the hitting hero for the Braves so far, David Ross.
Touched off a no-doubter in the 2nd inning. And a say he was fired up would be an understatement.
Well, we told you at the start of the broadcast how drastically improved the Braves' fortunes have been at Turner Field over the last couple of months of regular season play. Atlanta's won 9 of their last 10 games here at home. Their ERA barely over 1. And as Joe mentioned, and I think it's an important point worth repeating, the Braves are going to play the first playoff game here on Friday, and then if they win that game, get the first 2 of the division series in this ballpark, and Turner Field could certainly be a big home field advantage for the Braves.
Tommy, that last part there on the SunTrust solid performance, you hold teams to 3 runs or less 9 out of 10 games. I think that's the biggest key there heading into postseason.
I absolutely agree.
Holding them down.
Yeah, if you, more than anything else, you want your, you love to have your offense clicking on all cylinders, but I think if any team had their choice, they would have their pitching in line and in sync and going in the right direction going into the postseason, and the Braves certainly have that.
That's always been the chicken and egg argument about baseball. Is it easier as an offense knowing you have to score 5 or knowing you have to score 2?
Well, it's easier, but it's easier thinking you only have to score 2, but that's a little bit different in the postseason. I mean, there's very rarely just blowout games or totally offensive type games in the postseason. It all boils down to pitching and defense.
Ross grounds to second. 2 outs. So as you see at the top of your screen, Braves postseason tickets are on sale. Love to see Turner Field filled up for Friday's game. Don't know the time yet. Baseball hasn't announced that, nor have the television networks. And frankly, we don't know who the opponent's going to be quite yet. Right now, if play were to end today, it would be the Cardinals. And things are even more in a state of flux in the American League. Here we are, 4 games left, and nothing has been decided as far as the playoffs are concerned. None of the divisions have been settled. None of the wild cards have been settled.
I don't think baseball could ask for a better scenario than that. I mean, you're always trying to look for that parity. You're looking for keeping teams involved and cities involved going as late into the season as you can, and it doesn't get a whole lot better than what you just talked about.
With 3 days left after today's play, if the scores hold as they stand in the American League right now, Baltimore Orioles will lead the East over the Yankees. The Yankees losing in Toronto, Baltimore at home beating Boston. Bounced off the plate. We've seen a lot of that in this game. Murphy, a miraculous play to make it close, but his throw pulled Davis off the bag. And Andrelton Simmons has an infield hit, and that will clear Chris Medlin in the 4th inning.
Took Andrelton a long time to slow down after he got by the bag, too. Just sometimes when you see guys take a long time to stop, you got to keep an eye on them, make sure nothing happened on the trip down to the bag. Baltimore finishes up, Chip, 3 games at Tampa Bay. The Yankees 3 games at home with Boston.
I don't know who has the advantage as far as that series goes. I mean, you look at the record, obviously Boston's had a miserable year, but a huge rivalry series coming up. And you can't count out the Tampa Bay Rays. As we saw last year, they snuck in on the final day of the season last year. Look out. A rocket
Somebody got it.
Yeah, into the Mets dugout, and that caught one of the Mets players.
Josh Thole, maybe. Well, hopefully it ricocheted.
Yeah, I hope it came off the wall first.
Way outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the inning is over. 3rd strikeout for Henry Mejia, and he'll lead off the Mets' 5th inning. Chris Medlen in control, leading 3-1. I'm still amazed when I see that video of Chipper Jones. He looks like he just stepped out of 6th grade recess, doesn't he?
He did. What was he, 23 then?
Sounds about right.
Never get tired of seeing that replay of the greatest moment in Braves history, the World Championship. But a few more chapters in the Braves legacy to be written, perhaps in 2012, as they lead the Mets today. Question for you two guys. How long does Medlen pitch in today's game?
That's a good question.
Mejia backed away and is struck out. Number 3 for Chris this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, you know, it's how does he feel about where he is with his game? If he feels good about his game and what he's doing, then you know you can kind of keep an eye on that. If he doesn't, he's trying to fix something out there today or get a feel for something today, then you try to maybe extend him to the point that he feels like he's done that. But I don't think you send him much past the 6th inning or you know 90 to 100 pitches somewhere in there.
He's approaching the mid-60s with his pitch count. He's got 1 out in the 5th and the top of the order up. That's Ruben Tejada. And as we're used to seeing with Medlen, 2-1 strikes to balls so far today.
And working fast. Seems to be very comfortable with what he's doing.
Hot shot. Freddie Freeman will take this one to the bag himself. Tejada's the 2nd out. Interesting news in St. Louis, where the Cardinals have jumped in front of the Nationals. That's 2-0 at Busch Stadium. After that game, the Nationals finish up their season with the Phillies, while we're playing the Pirates in Pittsburgh.
I believe that's Detweiler and Lance Lynn, the matchup today in St. Louis.
Don't hear much talk about Lance Lynn in the Cy Young in the National League. I know we've got 2 20-game winners over here, but Lynn's had a great year for the Cardinals. He's 17-7 coming into play today.
But had a great start. What was he, 8-0 or?
I think the Braves were the first team to beat him.
Yeah.
Up in St. Louis. That just missed to Murphy. Ross held it there for a moment. That's been a strike for Mejia today, but not Medlen, it seems.
Well, that's why Chris's strikeout numbers are not going to match anywhere close to matching some of those double-digit efforts, because he's just not getting that pitch and not going to get it, apparently.
I don't know. There's one thing Dana's been consistent with all day long. It's not calling that pitch.
Right.
Again, foul past first, and Murphy still alive in the 5th inning. Freeman again, backhanded stab, perfect throw this time. And the Mets are retired in order in inning number 5. 3-1, Atlanta leads the rubber game of the series.
Tom Hart at Turner Field, 3-1 Braves, bottom of the 5th inning. It's been an emotional weekend for the Braves third baseman. I asked him today what moment stood out the most.
The one instance where I threw my hands up, you know, I was when everybody was holding up the 10s, and I was fine because I was looking down, I was getting ready to taking my practice swings, and I looked over to my left in the stands, and all I could see were these number 10s, and I was like, I just had to take a deep breath, and I stepped in the box, and I told Josh Tolley, the catcher, I go, how in the hell am I supposed to hit, with this going on? And he just started laughing.
It's been fun, but it's also been draining. Chipper told me he's looking forward to get to Pittsburgh, to get a day off out of the starting lineup tomorrow, but to get a lot of work done and planning himself in the cage to get his swing right for the stretch run.
Thank Tom. Top of the order, Michael Bourn against Henry Mejia. Michael back in the lineup after that thumb injury. He's made contact once. He's rolled out to first. He's also walked today.
See, I would have thought the big moment would have been when the Braves told him they were going to give him his locker, and he realized he hadn't asked me if it was okay if he took my locker home.
What about Smoltz? Did he
I was there
ask you?
first. I was there first.
Okay.
Smoltz wasn't real happy.
Yeah.
But I had to remind him that it was mine first. And then he calmed down a little bit. So.
Well, maybe you guys could chip in and get a couple of brass nameplates.
Well,
Lavins first, Smoltz second, now it's Chipper.
That'll just give us a reason to go visit Chipper so we can go see our locker at his house.
There you go.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Michael Bourn.
Makes it more special. Put your nameplate up there on one side of his
There you go.
Chipper and Smoltz on the other.
Yeah.
Squatters' rights.
Fire some dirty uniform stuff in there too, just to make it really feel like home, right? Michael tries to split the gap in left center, and he will. A leadoff double.
In recent days, when we've talked about Michael Bourn's struggles, we actually had a graphic talking about strikeouts and right-handed pitchers. And a lot of that was on breaking balls. That was an off-speed pitch, and it looked like it was an attempt at a breaking ball. Didn't break that much, but he stayed back nicely on it and took it the other way.
Yeah, it's picture perfect in terms of how you are supposed to approach and hit a breaking ball.
And saw no signs of Michael Bourn shaking his hand as if there was any discomfort whatsoever, which is obviously a good sign. He's having trouble getting the hand guard on as he takes his lead from second. Prado, as you know, loves to hit the ball to the right side of the infield. Perfect chance for that, perhaps.
Playoff situation.
Yep.
I mean, even though this is regular season, you can in your head play a little mind game if you're Martin, talking about how this is a playoff game.
Lined into center. That ball knuckled a bit, but Hairston was able to hang with it. Makes the play. Prado upset. He's unable to advance Bourn.
A breaking ball, and he hit it hard, but not what he wanted. Oh my, they may have sent directions. There's way too much Velcro on that thing.
Feet first, Michael, as Jason Heyward bats for the 3rd time today.
He's crossed up Shopik a couple of times already today with a runner at second base, and they may have a little trouble again trying to go through the signs.
Swing and a rocket hit down the right field line, but he pulled it foul. Another good cut by Jason, but the count now 0-2. Big lead for the Cardinals after 2. In the air to right center field. That ball is going to get down. Bourne around third. He's going to get waved. Hairston drops the ball. It's 4-1 Atlanta. That scored a double all the way. And another visit by pitching coach Dan Warthen.
RBI number 81 for Jason. Pretty good pitch too. Went down and got it. So Jason now with 81 RBIs and 91 runs scored.
And now the chop will turn to cheers for Chipper. 1 ball, 1 strike. Roller towards second. And Chipper's the second out. Hayward's at third. So Freeman with 2 outs. He's doubled and scored in 2 trips. Another nice feature about this Braves offense, as Tom has said during our homestand, walks with 2 outs or rallies. Braves have a couple of big 2-out run producers on their club, and Freddie Freeman's one of them. And an outside shot at 100 RBIs this year. He's sitting at 94, and almost half of them have come with 2 outs this season. Deep short. Tejada jumps and throws and gets his man. What a play. Shades of Derek Jeter on that excellent defensive effort by Ruben Tejada. The Braves pick up a 5th inning run and extend their lead. It's 4-1.
Yeah, I remember he was in AAA baseball, and I was managing Charlotte, and he was playing in Richmond. And they had a big team. He was a shortstop. And the thing I remember most about him, and what wasn't the first time that I'd seen him, but we were playing him one night. I think his first at bat, he got upset and he made out, and he got upset and he slammed his bat down in the rack, and the bat come up and hit him in his mouth and busted his mouth. I think knocked out a tooth or something. And they put a lever in at shortstop. It's a right-hand hitter, and he hit 2 home runs against us. And I remember that, and I used to always tell him, make sure you stay at the game tonight.
The one and only Charlie Manuel of the Phillies, remembering Chipper Jones from his younger days in the Braves minor leagues. And so on we go to the 6th inning. Chris Medlin just moseying along, as Charlie might say. 1 run on 3 hits.
Last 2 innings have been real sharp, too. A couple of strikeouts to start the 4th. A strikeout, 2 grounders to first last inning.
There's that inside corner we've been looking for.
Now if we can get on the other side of the plate, we'll really be in business.
4th strikeout for Medlin.
Control and command of all your pitches is such an awesome thing. It's a joy to watch.
Well, I mean, you hear it thrown around about guys a lot, and sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. But oh, he can throw any pitch at any time, at any count. Well, some guys can, and some guys it's a little overblown. Chris is definitely one of those guys that can.
I've asked Joe this question from a hitter's standpoint, Tom. Does the ball really look like a beach ball? From a pitching standpoint, does the catcher's glove look to be 4 feet wide, or is the plate 5 feet wide for you from the mound?
I don't even think it's that. It's, you know, when you're locked in, you have that saying you could hit a gnat in the
posterior.
Yes, and that's pretty much what it is. You feel like you could stick a mosquito up there and you could hit that thing with it.
Yes, he did.
You're right. Davis didn't like the call.
And he certainly did.
One ball, 2 strikes. Fly ball to left. Pretty well hit. Martin going back at the fence. Makes the catch at the wall. 2 outs.
I don't know anybody that plays fantasy league baseball, but if you do, if you want to protect somebody for next year, Ike Davis would be a good choice. Nice catch by Martin, ran completely out of room. But for him to have 31 homers and 89 RBIs with the kind of first half he had, first 2/3 of the season he had, he was never going to be able to get his batting average back up there. But man, what a bounce back from a production standpoint.
He was weakened in the first half of the season by Valley fever, you might recall, as Hairston pops one up in a shallow right. So you figure Davis is going to come back even stronger next year for the Mets. 8-pitch 6th inning for Chris Medlin, who sent down 7 straight and enjoys a 3-run lead. Standing ovation for our hometown hero today, Sergeant
Theodore Birdseye III.
Thank you. And a game ball from David Ross, too, and plenty of handshakes for a job well done. That has been one of the best promotions the Braves have done in many a year. Every final Sunday at home. And as we head to the Braves 6th, we'll remind you that Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you by your Atlanta Hyundai dealers. Make every Sunday a Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South. New pitcher for the Mets. That's Colin McHugh.
Just his 7th game, and how about that? He's been in 6 games and already sucked up 3 losses. Welcome to the big leagues. Check the report on him. 90 to 92 on his fastball, curveball, slider, and a change.
So Mejia goes 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And the Braves find themselves in the Mets bullpen ahead by 3 runs with Uggla, Ross, and Andrelton Simmons coming up. And a breaking ball gets Uggla on the top of the helmet. Jim Lovell will come out and check on Uggla. He says, don't need you out here, but just to be safe, always want to check.
Second time he's been hitting the helmet this year. The other time was in the ear flap, you might remember, I think down in Florida. And he turned around and patted the catcher on the chest protector and said, I'm okay. Waved at the pitcher and went to first.
4 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. In 5 innings.
He said with Jim Lovell, make sure he's all right.
4 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts.
So Dan's aboard to start the 6th. David Ross pops the next pitch up and out of play. 4 runs on 6 hits for the Braves, a run, 3 hits for New York. Both clubs have committed an error today. Another crowd approaching 50,000 at the ballpark here in Atlanta. The Braves will go over 2.4 million in home attendance this season.
Got David Ross flinching a little bit on that breaking ball, and I don't blame him. Mr. McHugh needs to get that over.
There's a strike. It's now 1-2. Good fastball takes care of Ross. That's the first out of the inning. Off we go to Pittsburgh after the game today. 3 left on the schedule in regular season play. Here's our Jameson in upcoming schedule.
When I look at this schedule and these matchups, I look at the Pirates and who are they running out there, and how does that help the Braves prepare for the postseason? And I can't think of a better guy to run out there at them on Wednesday afternoon than A.J. Burnett, because that will be postseason type stuff coming at them.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's the kind of stuff you're going to see. Guys battling like that, stuff-wise, he's similar to, I think, a number of the guys that they're going to potentially see throughout the postseason. So I agree. That's a great guy, excuse me, that you would go out there and think that you're going to have to grind it out, which is the way you're going to have to play in the postseason.
And from a pitching standpoint, too, from the Braves' perspective, they're going to have to contend with one of the MVP candidates in the National League, and that's Andrew McCutchen. He's a 30 home run man. Pedro Alvarez, I think, has hit 30 for the Pirates as well. So a good test for Atlanta. Facing a Pirate team that gave Atlanta everything they could handle early in the season this year.
Yeah, it was a good series. 4-game series. Split 2-2.
That was back at the end of April here in Atlanta. Well, Simmons ahead in the count. 2 balls and a strike. And a line drive into left center field. Uglo around second, on his way to third. That ball's up against the fence, and Dan's going to score. Simmons around second. He's headed for third. He'll make it without a throw.
Zeroed up a fastball right on the sweet spot, and boy, that ball jumped. No chance for Hairston to try to cut it off, and then Dan was off to the races. I gotta say, guys, all weekend long, these crowds have been outstanding. They've been loud, they've been into it. Everybody has stayed here to the final out. It's like the good old days.
Juan Francisco is going to pinch hit for Chris Medlin. The lead now 5-1. Chris out after 6 with a big lead. And the only question after this at bat will be, will he come in and play third for Chipper? Caught a corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Luis Avilan will be the next Atlanta pitcher. So Medlin leads. Chance for the Braves to win his 23rd consecutive start. You heard Chipper before this game moved too deep say that probably a day off tomorrow in Pittsburgh. Maybe a chance for Francisco to tune up. Maybe he'll get the start for the Braves in the series opener with the Pirates. And Juan is out number 2. There's Medlin's line. No earned runs again for Chris. And a chance to move to the top of the class on that incredible list of winning pitchers.
That at bat for Juan Francisco, his first in 15 days. Remember, even in the last week to 10 days, a lot of times when Chipper sat, Martin Prado played third. So Juan certainly a little rusty. Good day for Michael Bourn, though. Walk and a double. Made a good play out in deep center.
And now he lines one into right with 2 outs. Well, I hope that we'll be able to say in late October that him injuring his thumb was the best thing that ever happened to him, because his bat has had plenty of life today. Chases home Andrelton Simmons to make it a 6-1 Braves lead.
We were talking about the padding on the bat. You can see that padding right about where his thumb wraps around the handle of the bat, just in case he gets jammed a little bit.
Now he's running, and Shopik's throw handcuffs Murphy at second. He was in front of the bag to handle the throw. And 40 steals for Bourn now.
I don't know what happened to Murphy, but he got eaten up by this throw, and the throw is right on the bag, and why he's way out in front of the base, I'll never know.
It's almost like he went after thinking it was going to bounce, or because he got a bad read on it or something.
Like he didn't pick it up right away. See if he stumbled over the bag a little bit. Could have, but I mean, why he was even going across the bag is puzzling. Anyway, number 40 for Michael. That's a good thing.
5 straight years for Bourn with 40 or more stolen bases, dating back to 2008 with Houston. It's 61 last season between the Astros and Atlanta. Two balls and a strike for Martin Prado. A rare 0 for Martin today. Little bloop down the right field line, but it's caught by Baxter, and that'll retire the side. The Braves pick up a couple of more runs in the 6th inning. Big lead for Chris Medley now. It's a 6-1 score. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you in part by the Georgia Lottery, by Jamison Inn, and by AT&T Uverse. Big day for the Braves bats. They've scored 6 times, as you see our game summary.
Of all of those, and it's all fun to watch and great to see the Braves put 6 on the board, but seeing Michael Bourn come back and looking healthy and swinging the bat as well as he has been a big plus today.
And 6 runs, more than enough for Chris Medlin, who departs after 6 innings of work. It's Luis Avilan answering the AT&T call to the bullpen.
And face a couple of lefties, although it looks like Torres has come out in the on-deck circle to hit for Baxter.
Lucas Duda leads off, and a quick strike.
Avilan came in and pitched to Duda last night, struck him out.
Avilan, I don't want to say has come out of nowhere, but almost has to pitch very important innings for the Braves out of the bullpen. And even more so with Eric O'Flaherty having a bit of a late season back issue, one that is not considered serious, one that he feels with a little rest will have him ready for postseason play.
Last year, Avalon was in Double-A at Mississippi, 36 games, but 13 of those were starts. And this year, he was a starter for Mississippi before getting a call up to Gwinnett. He didn't even pitch for Gwinnett, made a right turn and came to Turner Field and has pitched exclusively out of the bullpen. He's been terrific.
And that's the best part. He gets called up, never has to think about going back because he's been so effective. One away for Andres Torres. Pitch hitting for Mike Baxter. And a check swing liner off the Braves dugout foul. Big weekend for Chipper Jones. Friends and family here, and Tom Hart is with one of Chipper's buddies.
All right, thanks, Chip, with country music superstar Luke Bryan. And what a fun trip for you to come in and see Chipper for this final game of the regular season.
Final regular season home game. We would love to be in a situation where we could come into a playoff game. So hopefully this won't be the last time we get to see Chipper in Turner Field. But we were going to guarantee ourselves that we would catch the last. We were in California, in Irvine, California last night, and flew through the night and got here. And it's hey, the Braves are up. Chipper got a hit up the middle, and it's been got to see Chipper's mom and dad. So it's been a great day here at the ballpark.
That's the longest route through Leesburg to Atlanta I've ever heard of. When did you become a Braves fan, and when did you become a Chipper Jones fan?
I mean, you know, from the time that I was a little boy, I had a little black and white TV in the Dale Murphy days, and you know, would literally fall asleep as a 6-year-old kid to the Braves every night. And obviously, you know, I was in 9th grade when the 91 Braves, you know, worst to first, and just you know, growing up in South Georgia, it was wow, broken bat, but go Chip, nice out, but yeah, I mean, worst to first, and just by being a product of Georgia, South Georgia, and you know, you were just a diehard Braves fan, and the whole. You know, watching from 91, you look at the banners up there. It's been an amazing run, and it's good to be here at the ballpark and see all the fans out supporting this.
Pretty cool moment for you this year. Chipper's final All-Star game was your first. You had a chance to sing the national anthem. What was that baseball experience like? Well,
it was great. I mean, we did you know, it was a great day. I got to my 4.5-year-old Bo. He's a huge baseball fan and just thinks the world of Chipper. And Chipper, I got to go in the dugout and say hey to the National League guys and see Chipper. And you know, Buster Posey and I are from the same hometown, Leesburg, Georgia. So I got to see Buster real briefly. And Chipper came back, and we got a couple pictures with my boys. I've got 2 boys, and both boys were at the All-Star game, and I got to do the anthem. It was just an amazing event for me, and a big moment in my life. It was fun.
As a performer, what do you think about Chipper's flair for the dramatic this year, his final season, and so many big memorable hits?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, there's been walk-offs, and you know, I think about the you know, him kind of taking the catcher out. I can't remember what catcher was, but that was a fun moment. It's just been a great year. It's just been amazing to watch. Just a career. It's so rare this day and age to when you look at people like Derek Jeter and Chipper that have one organization their whole time, and it just speaks so much of their character and their dedication to one organization. And I tell people all the time, you know, there's so many underlying sacrifices that Chipper's made to be here for so many years to try to bring other players in and keep this organization where it has been. You know, just a real if we missed the playoffs 1 or 2 years, and it was just barely we missed them. So, but you know, Chipper, it's just been amazing getting to know the guy. When you grow up, you know, down in South Georgia, and then you become buddies with Chipper, and then you go deer hunting with him. It's really a kind of pinch yourself kind of moment. You know, it's pretty cool being here.
Well, it's great spending some time with you. You sang the anthem at the All-Star game. National League won that one. Maybe we could bring you back and have you sing it for the World Series. National League could win that one too.
And David Ross, he came over here and was talking to me right before his first at bat, and he hit one into the stands. So,
are you the one he was pointing at?
Yeah, he was kind of he was pointing at me. So I guess that was he dedicated that homer to me. So I'll have to dedicate my next song to old Rossi.
It's a good trade-off, and guys, he seems to be a good luck charm. We might have to keep him around for a while. I know the ladies wouldn't mind.
Okay, Tom, thank you very much. And thanks to Luke. As Kelly Shopik rolls to Simmons. Backhanded pickup. And a perfect throw. Avalon works a 1-2-3 7th. Stretch time at Turner Field.
They made it so easy to play defense. You know, I mean, if Javi or Eddie set up on the inside or outside corner, that was where the pitch was going to be. And it allows you as a defender to be able to position yourself in the optimal spot to be able to make a play behind him. Doggy was certainly could go out and strike out 10 or 12 guys in a game, but he relied on his defense, and you needed to be strong up the middle and strong at the corners behind the Glavins and the Maddoxes, and you certainly didn't want to be out of position for fear that you might get their wrath. John was a little different. John was the strikeout. He tried to strike every hitter out that he ever faced, you know, and you had to. He wouldn't always hit his mark with his fastball or his slider. So, but more times than not, as a third baseman, I loved it when John Smoltz pitched because I got a day off, you know, because those righties couldn't get around on the fastball, and more times than not, swung and missed at the slider.
So Chipper Jones talking about the big three, one of whom is sitting between Joe Simpson and me here at the ballpark. Pretty nice compliment Mr. Jones paid you guys.
Well, you know, I mean, that's what you want as a pitcher. You want those guys going out there behind you knowing that they're going to get some plays and that they're going to be ready to make those plays. And you know, so much of that for us was started in '91 when the organization brought Belliard and Bream and Pendleton and those guys over that really kind of gave us pitchers the confidence to throw strikes. We've talked about it before in broadcast where you see guys out there and they seem like they're afraid to pitch the contact, or they're pitching not to lose games. Well, we went through a lot of that early on, and once those guys all got here, it was, hey man, we got guys behind us that can play some defense. Let's take advantage of that. And certainly Chipper fit right in that mold. And you know, that to me was always the ultimate compliment when those guys would talk about how we would go over scouting reports, how we were going to try and pitch guys, and they knew they could go play their defensive positions based on the fact that we were going to hit our spots on those scouting reports.
I think I'll never forget this play ever. The wild card series in Colorado, I think it was Galarraga at the plate, runners aboard, and Chipper got a tip from Blauser that a changeup or a breaking ball was coming. So Chipper took one step to his right near the line, and Galarraga ripped one down the line that would have gone for extra bases and scored runs that probably would have turned that game around and might have had an effect on the overall series itself. But that defensive alignment saved the day. Chipper made a great play and started either a force play or double play to get out of the inning.
Yeah, and then, you know, again, even a little thing like that, you know, if Blouse gave Chipper a tip that a certain pitch was coming, then Chipper could move with confidence knowing if that pitch was coming, it was going to go where it was supposed to go, and that was the end result.
And you had to execute the pitch to put it in the right spot, not the wrong spot. So pitching and defense truly do go hand in hand in Major League Baseball. Jason Hayward starts the 7th. A whole bunch of changes for the Mets. Andres Torres takes over in center. Scott Hairston's in right. And Jason Hayward to second. Will be retired by Murphy. And good start for the third Mets pitcher of the day. But first things first, here's Chipper.
Now, for all the tributes they've had up on the scoreboard this weekend, where was Ozzy Osbourne? He made this song famous for him here.
Yes, he did.
Might wonder if this might be the last at bat for Chipper.
Probably not a bad idea. Get a little bit of a head start on a day's rest or so.
Justin Hampson's the Mets hurler. And like Henry Mejia to start the game, he hasn't thrown one close to the plate with this crowd booing him. Throw a strike. Everybody standing at Turner Field.
Well, I'm glad Chipper could smile about fouling that ball off his foot. I'm glad it wasn't any worse than that. Three and one. He's going to unbutton the top button on his shirt, and he's going to let it go if it's close.
That's what Dad's telling Mom. He did, and fouled it back. Three balls, two strikes. And Chipper walks. So Chipper will take his place at first base. Let's check in with Tom Hart.
Guys, it might be the perfect time to get a pinch runner in for Chipper Jones, but when Terry Pendleton went to say that to him, it looked like he'd leaned back to the dugout and shook his head no. He wants to stay in the game.
Hot shot, foul past first. Well, if he feels good enough to go, why not? I mean, it would have been perfect. He could have gotten a final standing ovation here. But I would think if the Braves finish this game in the win column, that after everybody shakes hands, the crowd's going to stand and roar, and Chipper's probably going to get a curtain call.
Yeah, or he could certainly go out and take him off the field at the start of an inning.
Yeah, that could happen too. Something about players, though, that like to play and want to be on the field. Knowing Chipper, he's probably thinking, you know, I might get one more at bat.
Mm-hmm.
Sharply hit towards second. Second for one. First two. Beautiful double play started by Danny Murphy, the Mets second baseman. That wraps up the seventh inning. We go to the eighth, all Atlanta in game 3 of the series. (6-1) Atlanta as we head to the eighth inning. Back to our AT&T Ubers trivia question. And for those of you who forgot, like me, who's the only player with more career runs scored against the Mets than Chipper Jones?
I really hadn't given it much thought. I got sidetracked a little bit like you, but the only guy that came to mind was Mike Schmidt.
Me too. That's who I thought of, so I'm going to go with you.
Okay, I'll follow these two guys because I was thinking Pete Rose, but time ran out.
Sure you were.
You should have said it.
Fly ball off the bat of Ronnie Cedeno. Batting for Hampson, one pitch and one man out.
Pete Rose, then Chipper, then Lou Brock, and then Mike Schmidt. But Pete Rose 40 more runs scored than Chipper prior to today, and Chipper got one today.
Ruben Tejada. Braves, as we said, will head to Pittsburgh and play the Pirates tomorrow. The Mets finish up with the Marlins. With this late September run of good play by the Mets, there's no way that Miami can catch the Mets for fourth in the East. Marlins will finish in last place this year. And then the big questions begin for New York. What will they do with David Wright? Will Dylan Gee come back from his shoulder injury? Will Johan Santana come back and be an effective top of the rotation starter? Can R.A. Dickey match his 20-win season for the Mets? What about their bullpen? Lots of things for that man to mull over. Terry Collins, the terrific Mets skipper, had this club 6 games over 500 in the first half of the year. They were definitely a surprising club the first 2.5 months, 3 months, really.
Yeah, they were. They came in here either right at or shortly after the All-Star break, and things kind of fell apart from there.
Strike 3 to Tejada. He didn't like it. Wasn't flipping the bat at the umpire. I think he was just frustrated that he took one right down the middle for strike 3.
Great changeup. Sherwin-Williams painting the top of the strike zone. Perhaps not such a great location, but it fooled Tejada. The team the Braves are about to play, the Pirates, had similar thoughts at the beginning of the year to have a great year, and we're on track to do that until the last 6 weeks. But they've got to win all 4 of their games, remaining games, including today, leading 3-2 in the 8th, and then sweep the Braves to finish at 500. It'll be the first time since '92.
That's just incredible, isn't it?
That the first time that they haven't had a losing record.
And I don't know their record this year when it happened, but remember, they fell apart after they played the Braves in the 19-inning game here last year. This season they had a 19-inning game against the Cardinals that they won and haven't been the same since. So that might be job number 1 next year. Don't play a 19-inning game. As Murphy strikes out. 3 strikeouts for Avalon in 2 innings of perfect relief. And Atlanta leads 6-1 late at Turner Field.
Braves on top 6-1. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Big blow of the day came in the 2nd inning for Atlanta. You see that 3 spot up there off the bat of David Ross. He jumped on a fastball from Mejia and launched it halfway up the seats there in left center field. His 9th of the year. Chipper with a base hit. His first hit of the series and of the weekend to get everybody pumped up. And Chris Medlin was Chris Medlin today. 3 hits, an unearned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts on a day where the zone was pretty tight too.
Just getting him ready for the playoffs.
I think he's ready. And former Brave Manny Acosta is on to pitch the last of the 8th inning for New York. Acosta, one of the villains for what has been the Major League's worst bullpen by ERA this year. And a quick strike to Dan Uggla. Braves are winning. The Nationals are losing in St. Louis. 4 games separate the Braves and Nats. 3 are left after today. As Joaquin Andujar said so famously about baseball, you can sum it up in 2 words. You never know. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's in the dirt low to Dan Uggla. As you know, Braves playoff tickets are on sale for the National League Wild Card game scheduled for Friday, October 5th. At the moment, it would be the Cardinals coming to town to play the Braves in a 1-game shootout. Visit Braves.com/postseason and order your tickets today. And a little low for Uggla. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Did he go? It was a strike over the outside corner, I believe, and Uggla is the first out. Good pitch by Acosta. 1 away in the Braves 8th.
Sherwin-Williams painting the corners. He's going to need a wider paintbrush to hit that corner.
Yes, he is.
Must have been the swing then. Dan was kind of in between. And Corey Guerin begins to loosen up as David Ross stands in. Braves in command today, and with so little time left on our home schedule, we'd be remiss up in the booth if we didn't thank all of our wonderful crew, our technical supporters with Fox Sports South, our friends at Peachtree TV, Sports South as well. Names too numerous to mention, but we couldn't have brought you this 2012 season without all the hard work of our production crew. They really have made it a labor of love for us upstairs. And so, ladies and gentlemen in the truck, at our network studios, Braves Live crew, thank you so much for all your hard work bringing Braves baseball to Braves country from Atlanta. It's been a terrific season, and we will wish Joe and the folks at TBS best of luck for their run in the playoffs, and our friends at Big Fox too, as postseason play gets started on Friday.
Thanks to the people that keep us straight up here. Val, Allie, Karen do a great job of keeping us on the straight and narrow. Laser Baker, Chan, the rest of our statistical crew for giving us what we need when we want it. Always way ahead of us.
I second all of that.
Hey, and to you, buddy.
Guess what? After today's game, you're no longer a rookie.
Right.
That's right, huh? Right.
Yeah. Last year, when you did some games, that was like on a trial basis.
Right.
So you're locked and loaded now.
It was like a September call-up.
Uh-huh.
No,
exactly.
my first full season in the big leagues.
Yeah.
Or we called in my family a pitch-by-pitch contract.
You and Dale have been great additions. Just sorry you're not going to Pittsburgh.
I tried. I kept asking if I could go, and nobody would answer me, so I guess I'll have to go home.
Well, we know you'll be with us in spirit.
Believe it. I'll be there. I'll be watching. A little bit, anyway.
2 balls, 2 strikes for David Ross. And pulled down the third base line. Turner, a great pickup. Long throw, and in time, and Ross can't believe it. Ross gunned out at first. Freddie Gonzalez will come out and argue he wants to keep David in the game too. A spectacular play by Turner just to get leather on that ball. And 2 are out.
Outstanding defensive play. And it doesn't matter how long you argue with Doug Eddings, you're not going to win that one. Good hustle by David. Looked like he did beat it out.
So Ross robbed of a second hit, but still a terrific day at the plate. As Andrelton Simmons bats, he too has swung it well. He's got an infield hit, a triple, a run, and an RBI. 50,635 today at the ballpark. Third straight sellout. And ball two outside. One more quick thank you to one of our engineers for our broadcast. Dan Neighbors Jr. will be leaving us after this game. So Dan, thank you so much for all of your hard work. And best wishes down the road as you head off to the NFL. Two balls and a strike for Simmons. Bases empty. 6-1 Atlanta. The Braves winning behind Chris Medlin. David Ross, an early 3-run homer in the second. And the Braves have been on cruise control since. A record-setting game for Medlin. 23rd straight win for the Braves in a game he has started. And Chris will go to 10-1, fellas.
Yeah, would go into the postseason 9-0 as a starter.
Third time Andrelton's reached base today. And now Eric Hinske grabs a bat. He'll hit for Luis Avilan. Fans, visit MLB.com/FanGuide for a chance to win a VIP experience for two this year at a World Series game. It's presented by Scotts, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. Eric Hinske could be a very, very important player in the postseason. While Eric would be the first to tell you he has not had the kind of year off the bench he would like to have, as that one gets through Shopik and chases Simmons to second. You're trailing late in the game. You don't mind seeing a guy with postseason experience like Hinske coming up with a chance to do some damage with a long ball.
He's capable. We've seen him do it before. It's been a little bit of a dry season for him in that respect, but always a threat when he comes to the plate. But Dana DeMuth was holding his hand up like that pitch was a strike. And he is trying to signal to the press box that yes, indeed, it's 0-1 and not 1-0.
Called it on the swing, I think.
Eric 8 for 55 this year as a pinch hitter. As they'll tell you, sometimes it just takes one swing to get them right back on track and hot again. One ball, one strike. Shift on for Hinske. And he couldn't stop his swing. And that is that for Eric. He is retired and sends this game to inning number 9. Last inning perhaps for Chipper Jones at Turner Field this year. Sunday Braves is brought to you in part by Georgia Power, by Sherwin-Williams, by Toyota, and by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Giant crowd here in Atlanta, pushing the season attendance total of 2,420,171. 3 straight sellouts for the final weekend at home against the New York Mets. And we head to Pittsburgh to wrap up regular season play with a chance to be 3 back in the East, as we have a date with the Pirates, and here are your Chevron upcoming starters.
Paul Maholm will get the call tomorrow. going for his 14th win of the year against rookie Jeff Locke. Locke was on the mound when David Wright of the Mets broke the Mets all-time hit record, passing Ed Kranepool. So we'll get a look at him. The lefty is having a tough time of it with a 6.35 ERA.
So to the ninth we go, 6-1 game. And Corey Guerin is the third Braves pitcher. 2 perfect innings for Luis Avilan with 3 strikeouts. How about this crowd today? Misty, rainy weather. The Braves have a big lead. They're on their feet and hardly a soul has left, wanting to soak in every possible moment of Chipper Jones on the field today.
And he's been out there for the duration of every game this week.
As Joe said earlier, this is the first time all year Chipper has played 6 games in a row for this Atlanta club. And as hard as that is, I'm sure, for him physically at the age of 40, emotionally, I'm sure an even heavier toll with all that's happened at the ballpark this weekend. As Turner skies one toward left center, Michael Bourne's going to catch that. 1 out.
Bittersweet for those folks. What a ride it's been as parents for them to watch their son get to the heights of this game and seeing it trickle a little bit to the end. Great part of it is that they get a little extra. They get some bonus baseball.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's at least one more here at Turner Field.
I mean, what a wonderful camera shot that is.
I think Dad's needing a little help right here. Not so much Lynn, but Larry.
I talked to Larry at the start of this series in the clubhouse before game 1, and he said, can't believe how fast it's gone by, and if I could do it all over again, wouldn't change a thing, and I would. Relive all of this as Ike Davis hits one down the first base line into the right field corner. And he will double with 1 out. Again, the players get all the accolades, and deservedly so, but how fortunate is Chipper Jones to have Mom and Dad with him every step of the way. And the journey's obviously not over yet. Scott Hairston hits. And a slow roller. Guerin holds the runner, fires to first, and got his man by a quarter step. 2 outs. Lucas Duda is the final hitter we hope for New York. That one's off the glove of David Ross, and Davis to third base on a wild pitch. Now we're one strike away. Full count. If there's any justice in the baseball world, Lucas Duda is going to pop out to Chipper.
Or hit a slow roller. He's got to make that patented bare hand play one more time.
Chopper to Chipper would work as well. First and third, 2 outs. Joe, looks like Guerin's in one of those stretches where he's trying to throw the ball right through David Ross.
Yeah, at least it looks that way to me. Trying to finish this game on a high note and overthrowing a little bit.
And Roger McDowell might be seeing the same thing. Plenty to talk about for the home finale on the always entertaining Braves Live presented by AT&T. We'll hear from Freddie Gonzalez. We hope to talk to Chipper Jones about his final game at Turner Field in the regular season. Let's not forget, too, that the Braves on the cusp of taking 2 of 3 from the Mets and perhaps picking up another game in the East with 3 to play. This team has not gone easily. Yes, they have clinched the first wild card, but still bigger fish to fry, and something else you love to see about this ball club heading into postseason play. Andres Torres, the next Mets hitter. Strike 1. One ball, 2 strikes. Little pop into shallow right is going to get down and score a run. Davis scores. It's now a 6-2 game.
Craig Kimbrell just got up.
Fred Lewis will pinch hit. And Freddie Gonzalez is going to go get Craig Kimbrel. It would be a save situation. So it's as if the baseball gods don't want to see Chipper Jones' career end quickly in the ninth. Braves, though, have a 4-run lead. Back to Turner Field for more in a moment. Two on, two out for the Mets. We are in the ninth inning, and Craig Kimbrel is on to answer the AT&T call to the bullpen and pick up a save. The tying run is on deck here for New York. And if he gets it, it would be his 42nd save of the season.
Had to work a little harder last night after Dan Uggla made the error leading off the ninth inning, and then he hit David Wright, but fanned the last two guys, Ike Davis and Lucas Duda, to end the ball game.
So Fred Lewis digs in. Strike two. Grounded to second. That's your ball game, and it's the end of an Atlanta era for Chipper Jones. Plenty of reasons to smile for the Braves today. They take 2 out of 3 from the Mets. They win their 93rd game of the season. They're 48th at home. Chris Medlin goes to an incredible 10-1 on the year. He sets the record. The Braves have won his last 23 starts. And if the Braves can get a little help from the Cardinals today, they will still be alive in the Eastern Division race. They could be 3 back with 3 to play by the end of tonight's play. A remarkable weekend, fellas, a sold-out weekend. And handshakes aplenty for Chipper Jones. Tom Hart is standing by. He'll try to grab Chipper. And he's got Chipper Jones to talk about this incredible series against the Mets. Tom?
All right, thanks, Chip. A remarkable weekend for you, for these Braves fans that have been filling the seats all weekend. What were your thoughts there when the third and final out was recorded in your final ever regular season home game?
It's a lot of relief, you know. I mean, I really was looking forward to this weekend. I wanted us to come out and play well. We did that, especially the last 2 games. I can't thank the fans enough. I've been misty so many times. I've been on the verge of tears basically all weekend. I'm really glad it's over. I'm glad that we can kind of get back to the business of baseball.
You wasted no time getting your uniform dirty. Right off the bat, you make a couple diving plays. Did that make today any easier for you?
Yeah, it kind of got me into the flow of the game a little bit. You know, Friday night, I play the game well, kind of, you know, down here. And Friday night, man, I was up here, and it was just really hard to stay focused. But tonight, I got involved in the, you know, in the game defensively right off the bat, and got my uniform dirty and into the flow of the game. It felt great.
It's been an amazing season for you. And you wouldn't blame any of these 50,000 people if they didn't expect 3 home runs and 7 ribbies today. But overall, you got a chance to get on base a few times. And it looked to me, your final at bat, you were asked if you wanted to come out of the game. And you just shook your head no. Why stay in the game at that point?
I want to finish where we started, you know. I mean, we come out here and we've played 162 games. These guys have busted their can, you know, all year, and I want to see it through to the very end with them. And, you know, I don't want any, you know, standing ovations walking off the field. I want to go out and experience a W with my teammates. That's what we all set out to do every day.
Playoffs will start for this team next week. Is there any reason to think this team can't or doesn't belong in the World Series?
No, we can play with anybody. Believe it. We can play with anybody.
No doubt you'll have 50,000 plus for all of the postseason games, but 2 very special fans have been here through this series. They'll continue. Lynn is going to be mad at me again because we're going to put her on TV one more time. What's it like playing in front of your parents this week?
Well, I don't get to do it often, you know, that often very much. They come and see me in Houston. They come to Atlanta, you know, once a season, and it's awfully special getting to play in front of them. I obviously want to make a splash whenever they're in the stands. I'm struggling a little bit offensively right now, but LJ Sr. is fixing to get me out of it.
Well, when I saw your parents in the clubhouse when this series started, your mom said, number one, she'd have to restock on her Kleenex. Your dad said, well, if we can just get him to stay back on the ball, everything will be okay. He's still your hitting coach.
Yeah, we talk about hitting nonstop. I had him in the cage day before yesterday, you know, just kind of critiquing the swing, seeing if he can get me out of it. Swung the bat a little bit better, saw the ball a little bit better today, so hopefully things are on the upswing.
Thanks for your time, and it's a pleasure on my behalf of all these fans and everybody in Braves country. Thanks for 19 years. Let's put together a nice little run.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Atlanta. I love you guys.
Oftentimes, fellas, you see a team after a win head to the clubhouse. All of his teammates were on the top step watching Chipper talk with Tom Hart. And as this one ends, as Chipper's Atlanta career ends, who's there but Mom? Misty day in Atlanta, and we're not talking about the rain. Braves beat the Mets 6-2. Thanks for the memories indeed, and more memories to come for Chipper Jones and the Braves. We're not done yet in 2012 and beyond. The postseason looms for this Braves ball club. We'll take a break, come back to Turner Field with more as the Braves beat the Mets and take 2 out of 3 right after this.